If you want Oscar predictions for someone who's not an expert and has only seen half the movies, you came to the right place. See you in a second. What's up, everyone, and welcome to Metalcore Nerds. I'm your host, Sean Mott. Today we got a solo episode. There's no new movies. There's no big TV shows to have an after show for, but tomorrow is the Oscars. So I'm going to be giving you my Oscar predictions, but before that, there's a lot more to talk about. A ton of news, a ton of things I've watched, but first and foremost, last night we lost Taylor Hawkins, the drummer of the Foo Fighters, at 50 years old. So young. I think it took everyone by surprise. I can only imagine what his family, his band are thinking, but the Foo Fighters were very integral in me picking up a guitar and playing music and wanting to be in a band when I was younger. So I don't even know if I would have the life I have now if it wasn't for this band. As cheesy as that sounds, it is really true, and devastating loss to the entire world, let alone the music world. And rest in peace, Taylor Hawkins. Now, next week, there's not going to be a show. I'm going to be on vacation with my wife, Sam. Since that Batman review I put out with my good friends, Nick from Effin' Nerds and Matt from Hops Geek News, I've watched a lot of stuff. So last weekend, I checked out The Adam Project, directed by Sean Levy and starring Ryan Reynolds, Zoe Saldana, etc., etc. The movie is amazing. It's my number 2 movie of the year so far. I know we're only 3 months in. It's not that impressive, but I really loved this movie. And I know there's the big running joke that I like everything, but I don't love a ton of things. But this movie, it's really emotional. It's really heartfelt. It has to deal with time travel, which if you have time travel or multiverse, I'm kind of a sucker for it. But I do like how they kind of play with time and explain how you can kind of interact with oneself. It's on Netflix. I would definitely say check it out. I believe the kid's name's Harley Keener. He is like the perfect mini Ryan Reynolds. And I can't recommend this movie highly enough. Everyone who hasn't watched it, I said go see it. They're like, oh my God, I loved it. So, and now after Free Guy, Adam Project, Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds are going on to do Deadpool 3, and I can't fucking wait to see what they do with that. I'm so excited for that movie, and I have full faith that the MCU is not going to water Deadpool down at all, especially with Ryan Reynolds helping write the movie, and his production company is co-producing the movie, which is the first time a full-on MCU movie has been co-promoted by someone else besides MCU. Obviously, the Spider-Man ones don't count, but those are more Sony movies that the MCU is a part of. So it's a little bit different scenario. So it is the first time that a Marvel movie has a co-production note, which is very, very cool, which gives me even more faith than I already had in the movie. I also, per Chris from Geek Peak's recommendation, I am halfway into season 2 of Succession, and it took me halfway through season 1 to really get hooked. I think it was mostly my fault. My expectations of it, or what I thought that would be tone-wise, was different, so it kind of threw me off the first few episodes. But once I got halfway through season 1, I was fully in, and I fully kind of got what the show was and everything like that. But I understand why everyone is with the show. It's really, really phenomenal. And HBO continues to make these shows with unlikable characters and makes you like them for some reason. It's truly incredible how they do that. And yeah, so excited to finish that season. And 2 more movies I caught since the last episode. Turning Red, Pixar movie, was on Disney Plus. It's about a girl who's going through puberty and turns into a red panda, and that's pretty much it. But it's a really cute movie. It's really fun, really heartfelt. And I know there's some like weird controversy by old white dudes or Christian moms who think it's like an allegory for the devil or something. But I thought it was awesome. I'm kind of bummed this and the Adam Project, like, honestly weren't in theaters, because I think they would have been great theater going movies. But streaming is the name of the game right now, so I get it from that aspect. But another win for Pixar and Disney. No shock there. It's not like it was like my favorite Pixar movie ever, but I thought it was really, really good. I very much enjoyed that movie a lot too. And then last weekend, uh, Sam and I and a group of our friends went and saw Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, which is a prequel movie to the series, and it's a really good movie. It's really, really good. You don't need to have watched any of the anime to really. I mean, honestly, it's kind of better if you watch the movie and then go into the anime. It doesn't have it has some of the same characters. It's a different main character, so you really don't need to know anything. They fully explain like the world and how stuff works in this movie, and you get to meet some characters early that you meet later on in the season. It kind of helps you give a better understanding of them. So if you're into anime, check it out. Super dope action. I will admit, I thought the main character was a character from the series, and I was really confused about the whole movie, and it wasn't the same character. So that makes sense why I was confused, because I was like, man, they act really different in this, and their powers are kind of different. This is kind of weird. And then after I was like, they were like, oh no, that's not the same guy, and I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. So I'm an idiot, but that happens. Now we've gotten a lot of amazing trailers in the past few weeks. First off, The Boys Season 3 trailer dropped. Fucking Butcher's got powers. If you haven't read the comics, the boys all have powers in the comics. Makes me wonder if it's just going to be him or if all of them are going to follow suit. I'm very interested to see that. I honestly did not think they would do that in the show, because they kind of start off with it in the comics, like right from the get-go. They already have it, and they give Huey, they like trick him into taking Compound V and give him power, so they're all on the level playing field. So I'm very interested to see how they work this in. And I mean, obviously it's going to be like Butcher versus Homelander. That's kind of self-explanatory, but man, in the introduction of Soldier Boy, we already know we're getting Herogasm, which Herogasm is as crazy as you think it is. I promise you it is. It is fucking insanity. And I'm very curious to see what they pull off in live action compared to the comics, because the comics are almost raunchier than the show, if that's easy enough to believe. But I do believe the show does a better job storytelling than the comics. But now that they're getting powers, it makes me really wonder if they're going to end the series sort of like how they did the comic, which when I read it blew my fucking mind. So I'm not going to say it here. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled on it, but I kind of hope they do that, because it would be very dope story-wise. So I'm excited to see where this goes. They're doing Soldier Boy a little different from the comics too. There was a Soldier Boy from the past, but he dies like immediately, and it's kind of like a mantle thing passed down from generation to generation. This one seems like a Winter Soldier kind of thing, where he was put on ice and he comes back. There's even the last shot of the trailer is very Winter Soldier-esque. I think it's them probably poking fun at that, because they love to poke fun at other comic book properties, which is totally fine. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I love the boys, and I'm very excited for this season. We also got a Miss Marvel trailer, which is the opposite end of the spectrum. I think it's probably the first MCU property mainly catered towards kids, which is totally fine. Makes total sense. It seems like they're really trying to diversify the stuff they put out. Like almost everything in Phase 4 has been pretty different from each other, which I really like. And they're trying to get out of this whole, this reputation of formulaic whatever, which I can see to a point. It's just, I don't know, they've done such a good job with story and characters that I don't really care. And there still has been different ones thrown in, like Winter Soldier, like Ant-Man, like Guardians of the Galaxy, stuff like that. They've thrown in different flares of movies throughout these first three phases. And in Phase 4, they're just going bolder and crazier, which I totally respect, and I'm very, very stoked about. And I'm stoked we're getting such like a almost like Netflix-esque Marvel show with Moon Knight. And then after we get Multiverse of Madness, which is going to be absolutely brain melting, we're going to get a show that's like a coming of age Scott Pilgrim sort of Miss Marvel show, which if you know nothing about Miss Marvel, she's a American Pakistani from that lives in Jersey City, New Jersey. And in the comics, she gets inhuman powers, and then she can embiggen, which she kind of can stretch and move her arms. This, it seems like she has some sort of cosmic power that gets unlocked, maybe by these bands, maybe not. We'll kind of see. It's kind of hard to tell from this teaser trailer. And her powers are more cosmic. It does seem like she can still stretch, whether it's fully just the cosmic powers or her body does stretch as well. There's a few really quick shots where it kind of looks like she can still stretch, so we'll see how that goes. But her powers being cosmic makes total sense, because she's going to show up after this in the Marvels with Carol Danvers and Monica Rambeau. So To me, it makes perfect sense. The bands have been talked about being quantum bands, which are Kree technology, which again would make a lot more sense that it is tied the way that she's going to be tied to these other characters. So I know some people are kind of mad about changing her powers and everything like that, but it seems like they really get the character. From the stuff I know about Miss Marvel, like they really nailed her character. The actor they've gotten to play her is pretty dead on, and I believe this is her first role, which is pretty wild. 19 years old, and you're put right into a Disney Plus show. But I'm excited for this. It gives me the same feels as like Turning Red, so it's like it feels like a live action Pixar movie in a way, but it's set in the world of the MCU. And then right after this, again, we get to see her in the Marvels early next year, which is I'm very excited for that movie too. I mean, it's the MCU. Pretty much, you could tell me they're making a Howard the Duck movie, and I'd be excited for it. So it doesn't really matter, I guess. But speaking of Miss Marvel, so Miss Marvel starts 2 weeks after Obi-Wan begins, and I've already talked about this on the show, but Matt from Hops Geek News will be joining me for the Obi-Wan after show. But since Miss Marvel will be coming out at the same time as Obi-Wan, we'll be covering both shows in our after show. We'll probably also talk about The Boys a little bit. So some of those shows might be a little lengthy, just a fair warning, but it only makes sense to cover them both. Or we might kind of condense how we do our after shows here, but we're going to figure it out. And I'm very stoked to chat with both these shows and The Boys. So all three of these shows with him, and he's really stoked too. So I think that's going to be a really, really awesome after show. Last thing I want to talk about before we get into Oscar stuff. We got a deleted scene from the Batman. Matt Reeves already talked about this scene, and it's with Robert Pattinson's Batman and Barry Keoghan's Joker, which we do see in a little scene in the movie. But we get to see the full-on scene of them interacting. He kind of goes to him like almost like a Hannibal Lecter, Silence of the Lambs type vibe, being like, hey, can you help me out with this murder case? And I said, because I know a lot of people were kind of like, oh, another Joker. Oh my God, I can't believe we're going to get another Joker. And I was like, I don't care, because if you do it right, which I firmly believe Matt Reeves is going to do it right, I don't mind it whatsoever. And I think he killed this interaction. I love the back and forth between the two. Keoghan's Joker is just trying to get under Pattinson's Batman's skin, and I think it worked, honestly. I do get why they take this out, because for one, I think having the Joker in the middle of the movie would completely take any attention off the Riddler whatsoever. Because you have, Batman's biggest villain show up, and halfway through the movie, people are going to be totally thrown off guard by that. And then two, he kind of lays out all the answers for the movie, like, oh, he's a big fan of yours. He probably wants to be like you. He kind of almost alludes to how he hates and likes you, kind of like how he hated the Bruce Wayne but loved the Batman. Obviously, the Riddler didn't know that the both of them were the same, but still, it kind of gave you all the answers before you got them, and I think that would have kind of thrown off the whole vibe of the ending of the movie. So I get why they took it out, but I'm glad it's out there and we've seen it. I love it. And I love how disfigured it is, how scarred he is. It looks like he took a bath at fucking Ace Chemicals, for real. And he didn't just come out like, with pasty white skin. Like, he's all fucked up like he would be if you did take an acid bath. Like, you would be that fucked up. Makes perfect sense. And another thing I was thinking is that, and I said after the movie too, was that if this version of the Riddler was that brutal, imagine what the Joker could be. So I think this Joker's going to be completely psychotic, but Reeves has already said he's not going to be the main villain of the second movie, which I think is smart, because obviously The Dark Knight was the second movie in that trilogy, features the Joker. You don't want those comparisons back to back, or force those comparisons that are already there for this Batman and The Dark Knight. So I think he might play kind of a character like this, maybe through the Arkham show that's coming out, maybe through the second movie, where he's kind of like a background character, but he's there. And I love that. I hope they keep with that. And if he does come through as the main villain in the third or fourth or however many movies they try to do, if he comes later down the line, especially as kind of like a super group of villains take on the Batman, all for it. Totally all for it. Now on to my Oscar picks from a dude who is not an expert in the Oscars, but enjoys watching them. And full disclosure, I've only seen half of these, but most of the ones I saw made it into my top 10 of last year. So I do very much enjoy a lot of Oscar movies. And even after the Oscars, I kind of try to go back and watch most of them just because it interests me. And a lot of them are really, really good. Even if they aren't incredible movies, they're incredibly made movies. And I can appreciate that because I have cannot even fathom how to plan and make and execute a movie at all. I think it's such an incredible feat and skill to have. So I have the utmost respect for movies and TV shows and anything like that. It's fully incredible. But first up, animated picture. The nominees are Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and Ryan the Last Dragon. So I've seen The Mitchells vs. the Machines and Ryan the Last Dragon. The only ones I've seen. I would personally pick The Mitchells vs. the Machines. That movie is amazing. Lord and Miller produced it, who did Into the Spider-Verse, and it is amazing. It's also on Netflix, so if you have not seen that movie, go watch it. The animation is unbelievable. It's a really heartfelt family story. Definitely go watch it. Ryan the Last Dragon was also amazing. It's a Disney animation movie. It came out early last year. Sam and I saw it in theaters. Really amazing movie. Go watch that as well. But I do think Encanto is probably going to win this. If I had to guess, it's all the buzz. I've heard it's a really good movie. I really still want to watch it. Sam has had no interest in watching it, so I just haven't got to watching it by myself. But I'm guessing that one's going to win because it is insanely popular. So that's it for that one. Animated picture, Encanto, probably. Now, the adapted screenplay and original screenplay ones, honestly, I don't really know who's going to win these ones. Adapted screenplay is probably going to go to CODA. I could see it going to Dune or any of these nominations. Also nominated Drive My Car, The Lost Daughter, Power of the Dog. I could see it going to any of them, honestly. They're all pretty hyped up movies besides The Lost Daughter, really, which was a Netflix movie. But for original screenplay, it's Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Worst Person in the World. And a lot of people are saying it's going to go to Belfast because they don't think they're really going to win anything else. So it'd be a good one to give Kenneth Branagh. So if I had to pick, I guess Belfast. Belfast wins that one. Best Supporting Actress. It's Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Judi Dench for Belfast, Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog, and Anjanou Ellis for King Richard. Now, I have seen Power of the Dog and King Richard out of these ones. The favorite is Ariana DeBose. She's won pretty much everything else for supporting actress in this award season, so that would make sense to me. Before that, I kind of would have thought it would go to Kirsten Dunst because Power of the Dog has the most nominations. Super hyped movie. I've seen that movie and I've talked about it before. It's like a beautifully made movie. The acting's all great. It's just there's not really a good story, in my opinion, to it. And that's like the main reason I watch movies and TV shows and even play video games or read comics. Like, that story is such a big thing to me. And the story really isn't there, but it's a good movie, if that makes sense. I just wasn't for me personally. So I would love to see Anjanou Ellis win this because she was incredible in King Richard. I loved that movie, but I do think it is going to Ariana DeBose for Best Supporting Actress. Now, Best Supporting Actor, it's Kieran Hines for Belfast, Troy Kotzer for CODA, Jesse Plemons for Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith-McPhee for Power of the Dog. Again, Power of the Dog was a favorite for this for Cody Smith-McPhee, but with all of the buzz for CODA, for them winning all the awards they have been in this award season, I think, and I would really love if Troy Kotzer won for CODA. CODA is an amazing, incredible movie. I will be talking about them a few more times throughout this, but that movie is incredible. It's on Apple TV Plus. I know a lot of my friends haven't watched it. Go watch it. It's incredible. It's about this family. The daughter is the only one in the family who's not deaf, and they have a fishing business. She helps with the fishing business. She finds out that, she knows that she loves singing, and she finds out she's actually really good at singing, and she has an opportunity to carry on her life in singing. So she kind of has to choose between her family and what she wants to do herself. Go watch the movie. I love CODA so much. So I think it's going to go to Troy Kotzer for CODA. Best Actress. This one's been a very big toss-up because I do listen to some podcasts that make Oscar predictions, or some of the people I follow on YouTube or podcasts have made their own Oscar predictions. So this one is definitely been highly debated and I've heard can go to anyone and it wouldn't be a surprise. So the nominees for this one are Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer. Now, I haven't even seen Spencer, and I've been very hard on Kristen Stewart, mostly just because I don't like her acting in a bunch of movies. Not all of them. I love her in The Land of Women. I liked her in Adventureland. And I'm just not like a big, like the Twilight movies, Sam loves them. Loves the Twilight movies. I just think they're like funny when they're not supposed to be funny. If that makes sense. But the action in them is actually pretty good. And I don't mind watching them. It's not like I hate them. It's just it's not even their acting. It's more of the actual like dialogue that's bad. It's like the prequels of Star Wars. The dialogue is just bad. It's not like they're bad actors. Natalie Portman is not a bad actor. Hayden Christensen is not a bad actor. The dialogue is just terrible. So maybe that's it. But I don't, like I said, I don't mind watching them, but I would like to see Kristen Stewart win it. I know the new favorite is Jessica Chastain winning it. But a lot of people have been saying Nicole Kidman too. So who knows with this one? My pick is Kristen Stewart for this one. Best Actor. Nominees for this one: Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. Now, Andrew Garfield and Tick, Tick, Boom, absolutely unbelievable. Incredible. But this one's going to Will Smith for King Richard. For one, his performance in that movie is absolutely amazing. You know how most biopics, they'll show you real life footage at the end. It was like seeing the same people. It's insane. And Will Smith's an amazing actor, and he's never won an Academy Award. I think it's going to him. Even though if Andrew Garfield won, I would be totally okay with it, because Tick, Tick, Boom is unbelievable. Another Netflix movie. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's amazing. He was my MVP of the year last year between Spider-Man No Way Home and Tick, Tick, Boom. Love Andrew Garfield. I will watch anything that dude is in, hands down. But this one's going to Will Smith for King Richard. Now, Best Director: Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Ryusuke Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. First off, absolute crime Denis Villeneuve did not get nominated for Best Director. Dune is a fucking feat. It is. Everyone said it was impossible to adapt. He adapted it beautifully, and they act like this movie directed itself or something. It's fucking insane. But anyway, this one's going to Jane Campion for Power of the Dog. It's hers to lose, I think. I don't think anyone else is going to win over her. And she'll be the second or third woman to ever win. Chloe Zhao won last year for Nomadland. So I see it going to her. Again, this movie was beautifully directed. It like looks incredible. It looks amazing. It's just, again, the story for me, not much there. And that leads us now to Best Picture. So the nominees for Best Picture are Belfast, CODA, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. Now, I've seen about half of these, and all of them I liked or like really, really liked or loved. Loved CODA. Really liked Don't Look Up. Really liked King Richard. Really liked Nightmare Alley, and Power of the Dog was fine. The rest I haven't seen. The odds-on favorite for this forever was Power of the Dog. But now, again, CODA. All its attention to them. And I think they should win. I think CODA should beat Power of the Dog because I think it's a better movie. Honestly, I think it's a better movie than Power of the Dog overall. Maybe it doesn't look as nice as Power of the Dog does, but I think it is a better movie. I think it deserves to win Best Picture. If I honestly had to pick, personally, I would pick Dune. Dune was my number 2 movie of the year. It's unbelievable. I love Dune. Dune is incredible. So if I had to pick, I'd pick Dune. But if it's going to go to someone else, definitely CODA. I would love if it went to CODA. So that's my pick. CODA. They're winning Best Picture. Well, that's all I got for you guys this week. Again, no show next week. After that, we'll be back with the Moon Knight after show covering episodes 1 and 2 of Moon Knight. I'm over the moon excited for Moon Knight. I'm actually working on, obviously, we already have the now playing section where I talk about what I've been watching for the week with my guest, or right now, obviously, by myself. But I'm going to be adding a song of the week where me and my guest will be picking their favorite song of the week. I'm going to be putting out submissions for that. So if you're in a band and you're listening to this, you can send your song to Sean@metalcorenerds.com. And if I like your song better than any of the new songs that come out that week, boom, you're going to do it. But if I like your song, I'm going to put you on the Metalcore Nerds playlist Spotify anyway. So send all submissions there to Sean@metalcorenerds.com. I'll check out your band. I'll reply to you, say what I liked or didn't like. I will be very honest. And hopefully I can give you guys some attention like that. But till next time, see you later, nerds.